Hi there. I wanted to come on today and talk about um, what it's like and how one may feel when they've just been diagnosed. And I guess what's inspiring this post is I was connected with a young woman who was just recently diagnosed, and she's going through the ebbs and the flows and all the emotions and all the feels of receiving that news, and then going through all of her appointments and hearing all the things that were not a part of your plans, what you don't want to hear, being told what to do, what your options are, and then having to make life changing and life altering decisions, right? You know, because whatever your action is or your non action is, that definitely is going to affect everything moving forward. And we were connected. I have made many connections with different people over Instagram, and this person was suggested, to just, connect with me. We had very similar diagnosis, very similar, paths forward. Um, and, I reached out and, talking, and, she's very slow to reply. And today she wrote back a long apology, and I said, listen, like, you don't owe me anything. I'm just here sharing, you know, and holding space for you. I said, um, that's it. I offered her some questions that she could ask when she, met with her oncologist and her surgeons. I answered any and all questions that she had, again, based on, what my experience was. And I told her, um, when I got the news that I was going to have a mastectomy, again, mine was unilateral, as is hers. I said, it took a minute for me to be able to wrap my head around what that meant. I said I never had any major medical anything, so hearing that, I said I had to process it. I said, and for me, I had to leave. I got on a plane and I left the country, and I sat on the beach for several days, doing nothing, talking to no one, checking in with my mom every night so she knew that I was safe. But it was just, I had to get away. I had to process it, because it's crazy, because you're going through all of this in your life goes on, and everyone else is moving on, moving through things, and having highs and lows, and whatever they're having, it doesn't matter, because you're just frozen in time. So I was letting her know. I said, just take your time, breathe. It's heavy. I said, I know exactly what you're feeling. And I feel for her, and there's really nothing that anyone can say. There's nothing that I can do, because unfortunately she just has to move through it. And then one day you'll be on the other side of it, and you'll be like, oh, thank God, never want to do any of that again. So I guess I just want her and everyone to know that's going through that everything that you're feeling is valid. Everything that you're feeling is very real, very raw. There's no right or wrong. You just have to feel it. And if you want to cry, cry, scream into a pillow. I used to do that a lot. I would scream into a pillow, because I do believe that our bodies hold on to everything. And what I've been experiencing lately, in a weird, I guess, good way, is that my body is finally, like, relaxed, and it is at peace. And at first I was concerned, and then I realized it's because I've never really been at peace. I've never been at peace, and it's a glorious thing. And I've been listening to my body. If I wake up in the morning and I just want to lay there and go back to sleep for another hour, I do that. It's just so interesting. My back is cracking. And I know that's weird, because you're like, oh, duh, everyone's back cracks. But, like, mine has not cracked. I haven't done any rotational stuff since breast cancer, right? Like, I was diagnosed, and like chemo, I moved, but like not not how I did before. And then once I got the unilateral mastectomy, like I was super like guarded in that, like I just had to protect this side. So like everything was not limited because I obviously went to the gym, but just I guess limited in some ways. So lately I've been doing all these twists and turning, and my back has just been and adjusting, and it feels amazing. And I was like, wow, have I really been like holding and like tight for the last 2 years? And the answer has to be yes, because this is coming. And I guess, how does this tie together? It just shows that just the flow of it all, and all of that, like I felt like I was holding my breath for the last 2 years. Holy crap, yeah, like 2 years. And like now I'm on the other side, and right before cancer was the whole abuse thing. And it's just like one thing after the other. And even like before the abuse, it's like, I don't think I was ever really at peace. I was just, before that I had like anxiety, and just like all of the issues that I had to work through, and through, because there's no way around any of it. Like you can try to not work through it and work around it, but life doesn't work that way. Things don't work that way. So I just will say that it's really nice to be in a calm, regulated state, and where like nothing really bothers me. Like obviously people can say things like in a moment where I'm like, oh, that's crazy, because that may just be crazy, but really nothing moves me, which is it's really nice. It's a good place to be. And while I'm there, it's also just seeing other women go through their things. My heart really just wants to reach out and tell them that it's going to be okay. Even though I guess we just don't know, and like what is okay, right? Um, but I just have to breathe through it all and trust the process, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and just trust the process, and be as positive and as grateful and thankful as possible, even in the moments where you just want to curse God, maybe even. And for my whole process, I just kept thinking of the book of Job. For whatever reason, that just kept coming up for me. And I don't know, like I remember the book of Job. My grandmother told me this story. I was definitely a child. I don't remember how old, but I was young. I was definitely under 12. And it was just so like she would share the stories. There was a book that she had. It was a golden yellow book with red writing on it, and it had like the stories, but like in colors, and you know for children, I guess, or maybe adults. And just the book of Job just has always stuck out to me, so much so that I've read that book several times, just that. And I just felt like, and I call the last few years of what what has transpired is my book of Job. And I will say that I've always just given thanks, and I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for my path. So I guess what I want to impart on anyone that is going through whatever their difficult time is to keep the faith, and to have faith. And faith is so hard to have when you are beneath the trenches, and all you feel is like everything is piling up on you, and you're feeling like, how do I get through this? How can I see beyond what's happening to me now? And it is hard. It is so hard. And all I can say is you must keep the faith and trust and keep positive, because it's the only way. So I will think more on this and come back and talk more on it. Yeah, I'll leave it there.